Have you ever watched The Devil Wears Prada and you're like, how do people even get jobs like that? Or just seen those girls and they just have like that it factor, whether it's like online or even in real life, and you're like, what the fuck? How did they get this way? You don't have to wonder anymore because our guest today is here to spill all the tea, give us all the details on exactly how that works and how she began her journey. So welcome to Dear Everyone, Jade.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I would say your last name, but I don't know how.
Skluzacek.
Jade Skluzacek.
You got it.
Do you ever say it with like an accent?
I don't. I try not to say it
Oh,
at all. In fact, it was a funny joke when I met my husband. I was like, you're so perfect. It's so sad this is not going to work because of your name.
no, like that's real.
And so real. And he was like, game, like match, like let's go.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even like this bitch and I'm going to marry her.
Literally.
100%.
Challenge fucking accepted immediately.
Where's he from?
He's from Alexandria, but his family hails from the Midwest, I believe, St. Louis area, like fresh off the boat. They're of Czech descent. Yeah, like when we went to Prague, we were like a Smith. And he was like, see, like the name is great. Like everybody knows us. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, it's trash. But it makes me feel very like mail order bride, very like demure.
Prague, baby.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if you don't know, Jade has 4 stores, like 4 retail locations, 3 of them called Stella Dallas, one of them the Denim Bar, everywhere from Mandeville, Louisiana, New Orleans, Austin. Like, she is the real deal. These are her brands. She created them from start to finish. And she has her master's in trend forecasting, 2 perfect little daughters, so cute, and then an amazing husband, Trent. With that being said, like, where does this start? Let's take it way back. Childhood. Was it fashion in childhood or no?
No. So fashion definitely is, I think, my act of rebellion. I was raised in a very conservative, traditional home and was very smart.
This is a smart podcast.
This is a smart podcast. Very smart. I always excelled at school and was just raised in a very traditional, very loving, conservative family, very religious family. And yeah, I think fashion was born out of my rebellion. I spent every week going to church 3-4 times. My family is part of an organized religion that is pretty popular in Louisiana, and we were just raised very conservatively, not allowed to cut our hair, not allowed to wear pants, not allowed to wear makeup, not allowed to do all of those normal things that most kids do. So we spent a lot of time at church, and I think that it really kind of fueled this whole lust and longing for something outside of that. And I think that's why my love for this industry is probably so amplified, is because it was so forbidden, for so long. And I think it's also kind of a great marriage of my past and my skills and abilities, because I feel like in my line of work, it's kind of like doing hair. I have a lot of people in my life that own salons, and they're like, this success is born in these industries through it being your last resort or being like your number one passion. And so I feel like there's this huge disparity in fashion and in these creative industries where it's like it's either everything else didn't work and this is the last stop on the train, or this is all I can ever do. And so I often think about that, and I think that's what fuels me, is like this can't not work.
It's truly kind of shocking to know you and to know how intertwined fashion is into your everyday life. Every day, I know that's like a cliche of like every day is the runway, but literally, I mean, you're able to take like seemingly ordinary pieces that maybe you'd pick up off of a hanger and be like, okay, this is whatever, cute, but whatever, and then turn it into something where everyone is stopping you. Every time I'm in public with you, people are like, holy shit, you look amazing. How did you put this together? Do you think that, I mean, saying you couldn't wear pants growing up and now you're like pantsless,
Yeah.
that's a huge difference.
I think a lot of that has to do with your creativity, but also like the energy behind the person. A lot of times I wonder, like, the clothes really enhance the person, but it's the person in the clothes. You know, I've dressed a lot of different people. I used to do drop-offs for dresses to Beyonce and Tribeca when I worked at Vogue. Like, it's the energy behind the person. I mean, you could see that at the Met Gala. Like, the dress on the runway versus the dress on the person, the celebrity. And so I think it's like having that celebrity vibe about you also just takes things all the way.
I love that.
So when people stop me, I'm like, is it my light or is it my outfit? You know?
Is it your light or is it your outfit?
Is the outfit letting the light shine? You know, you meet those people, those electric people, and I think one of the goals of my life is to surround myself with people that are electric like that so that the match can continue to be lit and passed around.
Even having that background and being brought up that way, and now you as a mother and of daughters nonetheless, how do you navigate something like that if like your family upbringing was so conservative and now you're very like wear it confidence, bring it out instead of being more meek, more under the radar?
Modesty was a huge word in my life. I think this like live out loudness kind of skips a generation, if you will. I think, you know, as I've gotten older and learned a little bit about my parents and what they kind of went through, I think their best act of love was to protect me from some of those things that they endured. And I'm grateful for the way that I grew up because I have a very dark, adventurous side to me that if it would have come out earlier or been tangled up with maybe drugs and alcohol, I don't know if I'd be sitting here with you today because I very much am a balls to the wall, push it to the max, pedal to the metal kind of person. So it's kind of been fun to like do all of these things for the first time in my life as an adult who's calling the shots and making my own way in the world, right? Like my frontal cortex is fully developed. I have my own money, you know, I have my own life. So it's kind of like therapeutic in a way. And I think I get a lot of like backlash on the internet sometimes because I'm very much right now in my soft girl era and my mom era. But like 1-2 years ago, I was partying all the way up, traveling with girls in their 20s, still married, have a very healthy marriage, very loving relationship. But, you know, I think a lot of people don't see the why behind that. It's like, this is actually my first time maybe in my 20s and 30s in an actual club. I think that exploratory side has been it's been really fun to kind of do it. It's not even a midlife crisis. It's just, it's just a first time experience. So that's been really fun. I don't even remember the question at this point. Oh, you were asking me about my kids. I am like the hype mom. I'm like, if you want to do that, do it. I also get backlash on the internet sometimes because people are like, I can't believe you let your kids wear that. Nothing inappropriate. It's usually most of the time something that's very normal. And it's like, they're not a reflection of me. If I tell them what to wear and make them fit into this perfect brand image of who I am and what I've learned, I'm going to ruin this whole thing. And I'm not even going to have a shot to have them run my business one day because they're going to hate this. So I just let them be. And I think one day they want to go to the Pink Pony Club. And then the other day they want to wear this normal, basic, boring thing. Be a kid today. Go to the Pink Pony Club tomorrow. Like, that is the joy and the art of this creativity. So I'm really, really trying to watch what I force on them to try to make them blend into this image of fashion. And my husband too. I mean, I think he's just like, do I have to dress nicely today? It's the question every day. I'm like, do what you feel.
Be you, boo.
They may not put us together, but we're going together, and I'm not ashamed of you guys. So I've had to release a lot of that, and I think that has been one of the most beautiful parts of having children is like loving something so much more than I love myself or my own image. That's been very therapeutic for me as a mom. And then also too, I do fall into that game though where I'm like, oh, look at her and her family and like look how perfect they always look. And I always have to remind myself like maybe they're not all happy and on board with this perfect little unified family. And I think people like me because I'm not so worried about perfection. I'm not worried about it. The way that my life feels is more important than the way that it looks.
Yeah. You know, as far as parenting goes, it's like a struggle for me, for sure, of releasing that control when it comes to like silly stuff. I feel like I've done a good job on like the big things that I felt like mattered because it's what I would have wanted growing up. But when it came to Trace, and now he's turning 17 this year, and I think about that, and like he has curly hair, right?
Shocking.
Right? Yeah, shocking. He actually is why I'm wearing my hair curly now. It's like if you get to a certain point and you're running your hands through your hair and you're sweating and you're, teenage boyhood and you're not taking care of it, you look a mess. Like you
Yeah.
look dirty,
Right.
in my opinion. So we're constantly going back and forth. And he's like, it's my hair. Like this is literally what I want. I love my hair. I love the way I look. And I'm like, you look dumb.
You look like a dirty, sweaty boy.
Literally.
I mean, he had such an interesting childhood also, and he, was acting in movies and stuff. That stuff can be so tiresome. Like I was in the car today listening to Call Her Daddy, Khloe Kardashian podcast, and Khloe was talking about how tough it is to just get dressed and how exhausting it is. And it's like, I feel like that sometimes. Like I'm like another day of full glam.
Because people expect it from you.
Totally. And if I don't show up 100%, you'll see me issuing apologies, but I am becoming more comfortable being like, this is it today.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you in like athleisure.
I'm trying to like really schedule it out a little bit more. I feel like with my team too, they're starting to see me. Something's got to give sometimes. It's like I'm working all the time. I don't have a nanny. I really am trying to own that job in the last 2 years of being mom because I really have this fleeting sense of time where my daughter is about to be 7.
Don't I know that?
I'm not gonna have it. Oh my God, I'm like getting emotional, but I only have a little bit of time.
Yeah, no, facts. And it's so real and it is so scary because it's like you do your best, right? Like you do based off of like learning from examples that you experience as a child yourself at one point, and then you're like, I won't do this. And then you become a parent and you're like, these things, you have more grace for your parents because you're like, even though I still won't do XYZ like my mom or dad did, I do understand where they were coming from. They thought this was the best because this is the information they had.
Right.
And time is a fucking thief.
It is. And you're chasing this life because you think it's for them. You really do. And it's like, kids just need a parent.
Yeah, facts. This is a serious podcast.
This is a smart podcast. No, this is the symptom of somebody that works a lot. I think that's the point. It's like it takes a lot to make it. And you have to be intentional.
It's one of those things like we can talk and we can say, and I could set up even this interview right now and say like, okay, you have the 4 stores, you have the rental property in Austin, you have this, you have that, you've, dressed celebs, all of this stuff. And it's like, there's a level of like the cost.
Yeah.
And it's like the why is the children. Like the why is your foundation, your family, but at the cost of what,
Everything has a cost. Everything has a cost. It all has a cost. And I think also too, a big plus of this whole journey and all this work has been, I'm finally to a point where I'm like, I am going to slice the work how it's going to work for me now. My daughter's going to be 7 in 2 weeks. Like I maybe have till she's 10 before she starts rolling her eyes and like telling me to fuck off. Like I got 3 years. All right. I've been grinding for the last 2 decades, like crazy. It's time for me to slice the work how it's going to be sliced and to start working with more strategy and really start to push this thing as hard as I need to push it from a way that makes sense for me and my family. And I do. About a year ago, I put a hard stop to phone calls at 3. There's been a couple of really difficult emergencies and hard things to figure out. And I'm like, we're going to have to close for a day. Like after 10 years, I'm like, I can't be there. I can't be there today. I have a recital. Like that has never been me. And so it's been a really interesting in this time to be working with people that find every excuse to cancel and to not show up and to have every excuse on why they can't do anything, literally. And I just always remember it can get so frustrating as an owner and as an entrepreneur when you're constantly dealing with these setbacks. But I have to remember this is why I'm here at 35. With all the responsibility and the things that I have is because I show up and I get it done, period.
I hate that it's like this, but like that sentiment of like, no one's going to love your business like as much as you do, period, end of story. Like no one will show up with the same energy as you will. And so you, to set the standard, means you have to go so beyond high just for people to try to raise up to like some semblance of like normal.
But I definitely have a lot of equity behind me in my business. I think that's one of the hardest things that I've had to kind of deal with, having newer employees that have joined after this thing has kind of taken off, is because they don't know the backstory, and they haven't seen the foundation that I've laid, and they don't even understand that like every single person that enters into our business or our VIPs or all of these people are literally people that I messaged on Facebook.
Right.
Try out my store.
I'm very like positive leaning person, but it's one of those things where it's like I have safe spaces, whether it's my family or whether it's in business. And I wanted to tell kind of everyone listening, like, who we are to each other. Yeah. Because what I can say about you is two things. Like, number one, you were like the hardest cookie to crack.
Clearly not, when I'm sobbing on your fucking podcast. I'm soft, actually. That's why I'm so hard on the shell.
Well, that's what it is, though, right? And I get it, and I have so much empathy for that, because when you get taken advantage of, or when people don't respect you or your time or whatever over and over and over again for years and years and years, it does make you put a wall up. And for me to try to like build a rapport with you for years and years and years, it happened very organically. Don't get it wrong. But it was one of those things where I was like, no, I know we would fuck with each other. You have your wall up. You know what I mean?
I do have walls.
And now you're like what I consider a very safe person to me.
Very safe.
If I'm struggling in business, if I am having like a weak day in navigating social constructs in our city, whatever it is, I feel very safe with you because you're very, very real. And that realism isn't always what other people want to hear.
It's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable. But it's comfortable to me because it's real life. I know what to expect.
We have that in common, but it's also like takes time for me. And I've always been like this. I really wish I could say like life has hardened me. I was always like that wingman with my friends that was like, don't fuck with me, don't talk to me. I think I realized that I have something special. And I have to be careful who I let into my life, because I'm loyal, like, to a fault. And I've been taken down paths with people. I've been in relationships where I've been abused and hurt. Because when I commit to something, I don't give up. I think that's one of the reasons why I've had such longevity in this really tumultuous industry that I'm in, is because I think if there's one thing that is my strength and my weakness at the same time, like the people say in their interviews, it's that I don't quit. Like I don't quit. And I think that's why my whole life I was always like, I'm not going to get married. And I did. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids because I am relentless when it comes to making things work.
Yeah.
I love a big, hairy, juicy problem. I love to solve a problem. I love to fix things. And so I've had to really guard the people I let in, because I'll go like, if you have a problem, if you have an issue, like I'm going to go to war for you. And sometimes you don't want to go to war for the wrong.
Well, because sometimes people don't want to actually solve their problems.
Right. They just
want to complain about it or talk about it or whatever, but they don't want to fix it. Yeah, that's how I am. When it comes to like relationships or marriage, you know, I talk a lot about my ex-husband, but I have to actually give him some props, because I would have never left.
Yeah.
I would have never known the kind of like joy and love and adventure that I have with Devin had it not been for him leaving, because I'm so loyal to a fault. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You want it to work.
I don't want to fail at anything, ever.
That's what it is.
And I expect the people around me not to want to fail in whatever they're doing,
right.
too.
Give it everything you have. It's not always good. But then it's like, you know, sometimes you quit things too early. I mean, I see it all the time. People don't give things a fair shot. I interview a lot of people and try to staff from my business all the time. And I think people come in and they're like so disappointed when they realize we're not going to be best friends. They don't have access to me all the time. I have layers in place now. I have boundaries. And that's something I didn't have with people for a long time.
And why is that?
I think because when I was coming up, I think I gave a lot of power to the people around me, thinking that it was because we were doing it together. And I think I wanted a lot of people to have a sense of ownership in the business. And I think that was a really beautiful, really magical chapter until I started getting backstabbed and violated. And chastised and all these things. The worst thing in my brain, like I remember building my company with a couple of key players that worked for me for the larger part of 5 years when all this growth and exciting stuff was happening. And I gave them a lot of credit. I gave them a lot of ownership. I was literally not the face of my business. I was giving birth to 2 kids and wasn't at my most confident self, but I was like the driving force behind something truly incredible. And then when all that got ripped out from under me, and in my brain I was always like, I can never lose this person. I can never lose this person. I can never lose this person. When all that bad stuff happened, it was like finally the rebirth of myself. I was like, let me reintroduce myself now. The worst thing in my mind was basically the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I just skyrocketed. My accounts took off, my business, we did triple digit growth that first year. It was all new challenges for me, and it was new people, new energy. Every interview I went into to restaff and restructure my entire company, I was like, I'm gonna find my dream person, or I'm going to make a brand new customer out of this person that I'm gonna meet for the first time. Either way, they're gonna love this business because they're gonna learn about it. And it was the best time. I felt like I was speed dating. I did 500 interviews in 6 months and made a ton of friends, a ton of relationships. It just became kind of fun because it was in my mind, it was like, what the fuck am I gonna do now?
Okay, so I love that you used kind of the verbiage of it's kind of like speed dating. And I feel like if we went back on our Facebook messages, which is probably the first ways I've tried to connect with you, is, 10 years ago, whatever it was, 7 years ago, I would have been like, hey, you have something really special here, because there's no one else in Louisiana that has the type of trained employees that you have, that gives that level of service. You could set a new standard for service that no other boutique or, store at all in retail space offers in a small setting. It's always only the Saks. How do you feel like you do that?
It's funny that you say that, because that is my first question in an interview is, have you ever shopped with us before? And it's not because I'm trying to see if I should hire somebody based on the dollar amount they've spent with us. It's do you know what we're doing, or do you think that this is a regular boutique job? Because it's not. My best employees have been customers, and they have personally felt that relationship and that level of experience. And I have somebody right now on my team who I'm really loving, and I'm like, God, why does she have this thing that I love? And I remember she was a customer. She was like, put me anywhere. I just want to be a part of this team. I love the vibes in here.
As much as the customer experience is so amazing, also on our, friend way, this is what we discuss the most of, is the hardships of hiring for you is really difficult. And have you seen a change, or has it been like that always? What's the deal?
In my big markets, hiring is amazing. It is a lot of turnover, but I think one of our big successes as a brand has been hiring these amazing personalities.
You ever listen to Dear Everyone and think, this show is a whole vibe? Well, guess what? Now it has a scent. Meet Show Notes, our unisex fragrance inspired by the pod. It's clean, mysterious, and magnetic. And just like the stories we tell, it lingers. At www.11th.house, 11th.haus, we make pheromones that feel like power. Lab-backed, soul-stirring, and made to be remembered. Go ahead, smell like the plot twist.
We have bottle girls, we have aspiring actresses, we have theater people, and I've really tried to train my managers, we don't need somebody that wants to do this forever. We really don't. We need somebody who's passionate about it, who's having a good time, and who has a social dynamic personality that just genuinely loves people. That's what we need. We can build the love of fashion from there, especially if they have some desire to be in this industry. It's been really fun.
So one of the things you said in this process was that you want everybody to like the feeling of it. We've done a few collaborations, and as a person who's mostly online, I'm very KPI driven. And of course, that is a part of it, but you kind of helped me to shift out of that mindset for live events in person, dealing with people one on one. I hosted our middle child, which is like our number one best-selling scented pheromone, and we hosted our launch party at the Denim bar, which is one of her stores, and it was amazing. We had a ton of people there. It was just great energy, great vibes. It was great to be able to do both pheromones, and I feel like the Denim bar really kind of is the similar energy as 11th house. But it's one of those things where I was like, hey, how did y'all do? Like, I know how we did, but how did you guys do? And you were like, oh, I don't know, I'll check later. But like,
don't take the magic out of it.
Yeah, like I checked in with the girls and asked them if they were having a good time.
It's not about numbers for me. And my team will literally roll their eyes because I'm like, where are we at? I'm very, very number savvy. My phone's constantly going off about sales, if we're up or down, what hour rate, all that information. But when we're in the moment doing the thing, got to worry about making magic and the numbers will follow, period. Like if we get, so our customers can see that minute we disconnect from that genuine experience to be like, where are we at for the day?
Right.
This is not, we're not car salesmen.
And I feel like you do experience that, like, as a shopper, as a consumer, when I go in there and I know, well, what are you shopping for today? It's not like, oh, let me just show you this. It's like, well, let's try this and this because this fits your criteria. But also, here's a wild card. And it's oftentimes like those like wild cards, those like things I maybe wouldn't have picked up that work the best. And I love that level of experience. Now, I do think that that's the level of experience that we get as consumers, and why you're so attractive to celebrities and people who, like a higher echelon of shoppers. And can we talk a little bit about Lana?
We can.
And any other celebrities you've styled and things like that? Let's talk celebs.
We have celebs, we have influencers, a lot of them. I don't want to violate their privacy. A lot shop at our Austin store. Matthew McConaughey's wife, kids are lovely people. They've been into our shop a couple times. We have a lot of Kennedy Urick, Jenna Palick, like a lot of, oh my gosh, my team is so great about like respecting people's privacy to the point where I get so mad at them because I'm like, what? Come on, y'all, like please give me something. But we have a lot of celebrity guests and celebrity shoppers.
And how do you tell them to kind of navigate that celebrity aspect of like respecting their privacy, but at the same time?
I don't have to because they're all trained to treat everybody like a celebrity. I think my most successful people are the least pretentious, and it is the truth. Like you really, I mean, I know millionaires that have holes in their shirts. Like you have no idea. And truly, what the world needs is just a little bit of kindness and compassion. I think like just treating everybody the same is so important in the work that we do, and you literally never know. Like we have had people fresh off the ranch that have spent thousands of dollars. We met a very random Beth Dutton type of individual in our Austin store, and she pretty much bought out our entire store front and everything that was in her size. It was a massive, magnanimous sale, and she owned a ranch. She just was a rancher that was just in Austin for the day. She needed to clear her brain, and she looked like she was fresh off the fields, and she had the best time. She literally shopped with us pretty much all day. We have a keg, and we partner with Wanderlust in Austin, and so we have rosé on tap in the store. And I wish that they were here because I would love to partner with somebody. If anybody's out there that wants to partner with me for wine or espresso martinis on tap, let me know. I think the most magical thing wasn't the dollar amount. I think it was the high level of service. We walked her to her car. We mailed everything. We loved her. For the subsequent year, she brought every person in her life that she knew in just to like meet us and experience.
Just to feel that.
To feel good. I think I always say, I'm like, we're not saving lives, but we are enhancing them. And I think refinding the joy in shopping is so important because anybody can buy anything at the click of a button. So if we cannot give somebody a reason to get in their car and drive to see us, we are done. Mm-hmm. We are done. We are self-funded. I don't have any partners. I don't have any investors. Like, I wish I had more money to make my storefronts more beautiful. I wish I had all the money in the world, but I don't. I just have the ability to find amazing people that love what they're doing And that's really the secret sauce. And to your point, there is a lot that goes into training. Like, my team is not allowed to ask, what are you shopping for? You will always hear, what are you doing today? What's up? How's your day going? Like, open-ended questions, because again, don't take the magic out of it. Don't check the number. So, you know, if you come into the store and somebody says, what are you looking for? They're new, or they're like on a trial shift or something, because that's so like, is there no foreplay? Let me get my lube before you ram me in my ass. Like, hold on. Who are you? What are you doing? Did you just have lunch? Like, chill, you know? Like, chill. They're here. Maybe they know why they're here. Maybe they don't, but like, calm down.
Calm down.
If everybody in here knows that you're trying to make a sale, that person definitely does. If you get to know a person and you love the products around you, everything else is going to happen if you just chill. But if you're just wanting to pass on through and check out what we have going on, do it. I want to know your life story, and I'm probably going to tell you mine.
Okay, well, all of this, like, to say what's really, you know, both difficult and really good about it kind of makes up like the foundation of who you are and what your brands are. But like, have you ever almost lost it all? Like,
yeah, I mean, every minute of every day. Like, I am such a thrill seeker. I was telling you the other day, I like, can't believe I'm married and I have a stable life, because I'm such like a
Sagittarius.
just Sag, yeah. And I think she was like, your sense of adventure comes out in your business, and you put it all back in there. Every dollar that I've made, I have reinvested times 100. I definitely live below my means, but I take big risks, and I'm really trying to work on that now that my kids are getting older. I'm like, I don't have a 401k, I don't have a retirement plan, I don't have a Roth IRA, but I have a lot of talent and a lot of love in my heart.
I have some grit.
I've got some grit, and I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know if I'll be working till I'm 100, but it is what it is. No, for like the disparity of the highest highs and the lowest lows are truly staggering. And I think, you know, 2 years ago, I was in a situation, I don't even know when I literally bought a house sight unseen in Austin. I opened a business out of state. Like, I mean, you have to really learn. Me and my husband say this all the time. We're both Sag also. We have to really learn how to save our money and be more thoughtful, be more responsible. But I think as this train took off the tracks, we were like double, triple growing like crazy. And we expected the trajectory to continue. And then like the rug got pulled out from under us with
And
COVID.
it's jarring when that happens.
Oh,
You're
but
like,
it was
what?
COVID. I mean, we all were. And I think that was like the scariest time of my life. That was actually before I started my store in Austin, though, so obviously it didn't scare me that much.
A little side note story. This is the difference between, if you're watching this and you own a company yourself, the level of service that she gives is that she would go in, and I'll never forget this because I was a customer at this time, during COVID, and literally be like live selling, sending stuff for us to try on.
Dropping it off in BFE. There was no grace. I think that's the whole thing about this grace that everyone expects. There's no grace for people that have to pay their lease. Like, it doesn't matter that the government told us that we had to close. My rent still has to be paid, you know? And I was pregnant. I was pregnant with Stevie, and I didn't know it. I didn't find out till I was 20 weeks.
Wow.
I was pregnant the entire time I was doing that with a 2-year-old.
What the fuck? How did you not know you were pregnant?
I was working. I was literally working. I was in the store in my pajamas just like, how am I going to hustle my way through this? And I had multiple doors at that point. And I saw an opportunity. That was the time when New Orleans was born. Like, in all these horrible low moments, so much rebirth was happening, because when something's dying.
That's truly where opportunity is. Yep.
So, like, when you are able to shift that focus to, like, think about what's being born, it's so magical. And I was like, and I think what helps me a lot was studying trend forecasting. 90% of people are going in this direction. This is the mass consumer trend. The 10% counter trend, the exact opposite, and you know all about this because you are a counter trend bitch.
Yeah, I love a counter turn.
If you just run the opposite way of the fucking herd, everybody's closing right now. Everybody's shutting down right now. Everybody was shutting down in COVID. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a new fucking store.
Yep.
I'm going to go get a good deal on some real estate because I don't have that much capital. And I'm going to seize the opportunity. And I'm rolling the dice and saying a lot of prayers and spraying a lot of pheromones and hoping for the best. And the difference between me and everybody else is if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to quit. And I'm going to show up and roll up my sleeves and I'm going to get it done.
Period. You heard it here. That's the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen, that there is no secret. And a lot of Botox so they can't tell you're stressed. One thing that's a little off topic is you did model. Like, you moved to New York and did modeling.
I didn't. So I worked in PR and they would throw me into the shows.
Okay.
And I'll never forget.
But modeling nonetheless.
I did. My face was in Sephora because a model called out and there was a brand called Ilamasca. And they were doing like these live makeup runway shows where we had to wear these like bodysuits. And yeah, I was photographed on New York Fashion Week runway. And I remember like it going to my head, and my friend, Stephen Dimmick, he's amazing. He's still a really popular makeup artist in New York. I was like, I think I could do this. Like, do you think I could do this? And he said, honey, if you have to ask if you can do something, you probably can't. And he was so mean. And it took me down. I mean, I was probably 118 pounds soaking wet. And he was like, you're fat.
And you're tall. Oh my God, I can't imagine.
But I worked with models. And I was the one that was like, chill, calm down. Like, modeling was so cool to me at the time. And then I'll never forget, I met one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. She looked like an angel that had descended from earth. She was tall. Everyone was taller than me. Right. And I'm 5'11". Right. Everybody was taller than me. She was like an extraterrestrial being. And we were doing casting for New York Fashion Week. It was this poetic, incredible time in the city. It was so cool. And this bitch got in front of the cameras, and these fucking people were so mean to her. They were like, hide your man hands. You're disgusting. How dare you? We flew you in here. It is so dehumanizing and so crazy. I know the industry has changed a lot, but I was at the end of a very dehumanizing cycle. It was before body positivity. It was before all of this diversity and uniqueness. And actually, when I was studying in my master's, one of our trend projects was monsters in fashion. And it was like, this sounded really scary, but it was all of these people that weren't perfect anymore. That was where we were projecting the trends to move. And it did. And it absolutely did, because everybody was like, fuck this image of perfection. We want weirdness. We want novelty. We want somebody that looks crazy, like something we haven't seen before, non-symmetrical, and that grew to be body positivity, which has been amazing, and all of these other channels of beauty that were not open before.
What do you think the next trend is?
Oh my gosh, it's hard to say. I think it's super mixed. I think the biggest trend that has really everyone rolling their eyes is being an influencer, and I think that's dead. And doing a paid brand deal when I was in Austin, and this guy was like, can you just give me some tips on how to be an influencer? And I feel like Stephen Dimmick. I'm like, if you have to ask, you're probably not an influencer. But I'm like, I don't identify as such. Right. I'm a disruptor. I'm a de-influencer. I'm an entrepreneur. And I think because I'm not trying to sell something outside of a realm, this whole idea of selling and getting straight to the point, like, show me who you are. Mm-hmm. Who are you? Show me, get to know me, before you just try to jam all these products down my throat. I think we're all just over it.
Yeah.
Over this selling consumer culture, and knowing on the other side that this person is just trying to stay at home and sell products. It's like, yeah, like you gotta have something more now.
Yeah, it's definitely like switched into almost like the word influencer is like an icky word, even to influencers, like actual influencers, of trying to shift it and make it pretty and put a bow on it and call it content creation or whatever. But I do agree that, like, I actually got into an argument and parted ways with a popular, I don't know how to say this without giving it away, but a popular platform for influencers, okay? It's like a 3-letter word, where my brand was on there, right? And we're still on there, but in order to do it, we kind of had like a meeting of what was working, what wasn't working, and I said, well, honestly, now that we have things like TikTok Shop and we have these like other avenues of affiliate marketing, I said some of my strongest people aren't influencers. They don't have many people. They might have 400 followers, but they have influence over everyone.
Even, there's people locally that work with me, and it's like, just because you're an influencer doesn't mean you have influence. You don't have influence. If you don't have purchasing people, you don't have influence.
Or if your people don't get me, if they don't get what I'm offering. And this company, they literally fought with me. They were like, haha,
They're on their way out.
that's where we disagree. Not everyone's an influencer, and that's why we have such strict protocols.
Everyone has their level of influence. And if you're a person that has 30 people that trust what you say and are going to go buy it, and you have somebody with 3 million followers who's jamming random shit down people's throat, you're going to have a better turnout with that.
100%.
Things are changing. Influencer culture was born when I moved to New York. I got an Instagram when I moved to New York. And my best friend, who is a very, very popular, very successful influencer, we lived together in New York. We moved there together. Both of her parents passed away. And I was like, bitch, you got to get a fucking job. Because, like, you're out here taking pictures, and I'm carrying us, and I'm buying. I mean, we really fully supported each other. But I was like, this is not gonna take off, And so she was in the front end of that trend, and she's really like super successful. But I saw the whole thing. It has sustained. I mean, what's it been, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, it's one of those things kind of like we were talking about before this in business, like the ups, the downs, but at that level of sustainability doesn't necessarily mean you're making petrillions. Like it might mean like it's covering it in a relaxed way.
Every 10 years, you have to think about what's next before that 10-year mark. That's the whole secret. 10 years is a full trend cycle.
Last like big question before we get to our rapid fire round is how do you take pictures? Because like we need to know, how can we take pictures? How do you do that? What's your process? Because you look 10 out of 10 every single time.
I think you just have to stop giving a fuck. I really do. I think you have to stop giving a fuck. And I think that the trick is look at it once if you need to. Like we had made adjustments after we looked at it once. Care less and just check yourself, and then the rest will happen. Being on the production side and working with models, I think, but you're really the one behind. You have to be a behind the scenes bitch to be a front of house bitch. You can't just be like, you have to have some equity, right?
Okay.
So I think just from looking at something and being like, this is how you can make it better, it just kind of stays in your head. And I think I'm 35. Like, I have gone through decades of horrible pictures. Go pull my MySpace. Go pull my...
MySpace is crazy.
You got to learn what looks bad to get to the good stuff.
All right, there you go. Well, rapid fire, let's go. Taylor or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Crocs or kitten heels?
Kitten heels.
Designer dupe or save up and splurge?
Save up and splurge.
No makeup or full beat?
Full beat.
Hot mess mom or Pinterest planner?
Pinterest planner.
Okay. Boom. Did any of these shock you guys? Now we'll do a little quick round of rapid fire questions. You can give a sentence or two on these. All right. What is your go-to excuse when you want to skip out on something?
Always work. Like work or a work emergency.
That's so real.
I'm never ill. Like I actually have learned to never be sick, because if I do have to work sick quite a bit, and the second that I ever say that I'm sick, I have 5 people not show up the next day because they are sick with whatever.
It's going around now.
Yeah, it's going around. And I'm like, I didn't even have that. Like that wasn't even real.
All right. Worst part of your job?
The worst part and the best part of my job are the same. It's people, dealing with people.
Okay, customers or people who work for you?
Both. Mean customers ruin days, flaky employees ruin days, but wonderful employees make my life, and amazing customers are the whole reason why we show up every day.
All right, 3 words to describe who you're going to be in the next 10 years, like 10 years from now. 3 to 5 words, go.
Hotter, badder, richer.
Oh,
Period.
period.
Smarter, nicer. Maybe my walls, maybe down. I'm getting softer. I'm becoming more of a pussy. I am.
I want to say this. Now that I know, I feel like I know you a lot deeper. I will say it wasn't that her walls were up. Like, I do think, like, a lot of it was just that she's fucking busy. I wasn't as busy, and now that I am busy, I understand. Dream date or favorite kind of date with Trent?
Straight sex, honestly. No kids, down and dirty. I think just being with him and being like a kid again. The funnest date we had was the one where we posted and that we were making out in front of Del Porto. We just like got an Uber, went to downtown Covington, and we like drank and ate our way through like every single spot downtown. We were talking, we were walking, we were holding hands. Like I walked him through SSA where I went to high school and like showed him all the bad things that I did.
With your, very conservative religious background, was the fashion stuff like the only way of rebelling? Like, name a time where you rebelled.
I would like steal cigarettes and like smoke cigarettes on my rooftop. I would try to sneak out, or I would like lie about raunchy things that I did. So my parents, because my mom was like she was so worried about us like getting pregnant, and I feel like thank God, we're all worried about getting pregnant. But, well,
Some people do get pregnant in high school.
They do. She would always check my phone, and like my way to torture her was to be like, I did drugs. Like I would lie about bad things that I would do to my friends just so she would think that I was doing those.
You're telling me that you would lie about being a bad girl to be a bad girl.
How fucked up is that? But I was convinced that she had a tracker on my car at one point because I was dating this guy that she really hated. To her point, he was terrible. I think for sure she had a tracker on my car, but she would always tell me that it was God that told her where I was.
Oh no!
She was like, God tells me things, and I'm like, it's my phone. Like now I'm looking back, it was like I was probably so dumb, but I would like the one way to torture her would be to like say something that I did that got under her radar, and it was like clockwork every time. My poor mom. I'm sorry, Mom.
Okay, last question. Do you have a hidden talent?
Yes. Queefing. Just kidding. Just kidding. Singing. Singing. Whistle while you work. Singing is my hidden talent. It's not really a hidden talent.
Okay, here at Dear Everyone, we are all about like sharing the stuff that nobody wants to share, like saying the things that no one wants to say. Maybe they're thinking it or feeling it, or if they've dealt with it themselves and kind of kept it hidden. So if you could look at the camera and tell everybody like, Dear Everyone, blah, 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 what would it be?
I already know. Dear everyone, work harder and care less.
Period. All right, Jade, thank you so much for being here. Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me, where can you find me? At 4 locations or online.
It'll be all in the notes.
I will be at the Denim Bar or Stella Dallas in Mandeville or Stella Dallas Uptown or Stella Dallas Austin or on my Instagram page at Jade Skluzacek or at my Airbnb property, Casa Contempo.
Boom. Later, haters. If you loved this, you're really going to love the stuff that we didn't air. Uncut convos, spicy extras, my thoughts after the mic drops, all waiting for you over on our Patreon at patreon.com/VSoSpicy. It's where the secrets live. See you inside.